Some of you have traveled by air on many occasions, while some of you have not yet had that opportunity. In any case, it's a fact that the day you're going to take your first flight, it will forever be ingrained in your mind, depending on the experience you're going to have, of course. In the year 2002 or 2003, when I was in lower primary, I had my first opportunity to step on a plane. We are going on a trip to Moi International Airport in Mombasa. And so we board the plane. We walked via the bridge, sat on the seats, fastened our seat belts. So we thought we were going to travel on this particular day. So we sat for a few minutes and then we were ushered out to our disappointment. We were so excited, we thought now this was the day as little children, but that was not the case. Anyway, I was happy that at least I got a chance to step on a plane. I knew that this dream was going to be fulfilled one day, but I was grateful at least I stepped on a plane. Now flash forward, the year 2022. This was going now to happen. That year I said, even if it's going to take a local flight or an international flight, whatever, it was going to be the year that I was going to travel by plane, by air. It was around April when I was called for an interview by the JSC. This time, many people were called for this interview. Thousands of Kenyans who had applied for the court clerk positions were called. They only needed 500 people, but they called thousands of us. My interview was scheduled on April the 7th. It was scheduled in different weeks, all the way from March, end of March, towards early April. So mine was on 7th of April. I was working somewhere in Taveta. I had to take an off. I remember the boss was reluctant to sign my leave, but I was determined to go because I had already booked the flight. From Taveta to Nairobi, of course, I traveled by road, and I arrived in Nairobi in the wee hours of the morning to go for this interview. I believe it was at the Kenya School of Government. On arrival, freshened up a bit, then took those matatus to community area, if I remember well. Did the interview at around noon. After I was done with the interview, I went to Gikomba to just check out some few items. That was around now 2 p.m. I did not want to miss this flight. I mean, my first flight, nimeachwa. That was not gonna happen. I took Andothi because I was afraid of the jam. There was not much jam, but I just did not want to take the risk. My flight was scheduled for 5 p.m. So, kachukua pikipiki, bio sana, to the airport, JKIA. This guy, he overcharged me, I guess, because it took me around 1,200 shillings. A bit expensive, but at that time, I did not care about the cost. All I wanted was to arrive in time, not to miss this flight. So, arrived at the airport, checked in, got my ticket, the flight number JM8716, seat number 12A. Went to that area where you are searched of your items, toa belt, toa viatu, kila or kila kitu. So after the search, went to the waiting area. It was around 3:30, about 1 hour, 30 minutes to the flight. So I was just in time, super early for the flight. While waiting, I remember seeing David Murathe, and this was before the elections. So this guy was said to be part of the deep state, and so he was big at the time. So just saw him walk by, and I was like, okay, so this is where you can meet such kind of people. Anyway, the time came and we had board this plane, flight number JM8716, Jumbo Jet. We walked and I just was taking these videos for commemoration. Entered the plane, I was like, wow, okay. Had my seat, and behind me were some ladies. On my seat, I didn't have a partner, so I was all alone. While seated, I remember seeing this person walk in with a badge, a Freemason badge, rated the Grand Lodge of East Africa. And I thought to myself, okay, so it's only travel by air that you meet peculiar people, celebrities, politicians, all sorts of people. I was like, wow, this is it. These ladies behind me, I think they noticed that this was my first time because I was busy taking videos, selfie. I just didn't want to miss any moment. Anyways, the time came for the takeoff. The engines were fired on. First, the captain introduced herself. Her name was Pauline Bichanga. I was so elated that, wow, we had a lady or a woman for a captain. Okay, that's great. And so when the engines fired up, you could feel the vibration. I thought it was going to be a bit silent.
Welcome to this flight A716.
But you could just feel this power and the vibration. And we taxied to the runway slowly. And when we hit the runway now, and when the plane took off, it was just in a matter of seconds when I just found myself, or we found ourselves in the air. I thought that during the climb, it was going to be just steadily. And so I realized that we were climbing and then pausing for just a second, then climb again, then a little pause, then climb again until we reached altitude. And here we are now, in the skies, in the clouds. I was just excited. Is this really me? Umezoea uko kwa bus, but now uko juu ya anga, my friend. Wow. So I was just checking via the window, just looking, admiring. I just could not take my face outside. Out of the window. And for the first time, I saw the sheer beauty and elegance of creation from above. Just checking out how beautiful. Seeing the buildings as tiny dots, seeing the streams, the rivers as tiny strings, seeing the clouds hovering here and there. I was just full of appreciation. This is the creator, this is the master architect who designed all this. It was just brilliant, amazing. I felt high. I was literally high. Maybe that is where these people got the phrase of getting high. While I was admiring all this, a silly thought hit my mind. I was thinking, wow, what if I find myself down there? Wow. So, remember, this was a flight from Nairobi to Mombasa. And from Mombasa, I will connect now by road to Kilifi, go home. And being that this was a short flight, it took about an hour. And so in an hour's time, we were entering the airspace, the coastal airspace of Mombasa. While approaching this coastal airspace, I remember the plane taking a tilt at a certain angle. You could just feel it's like a corner heading towards the runway. And now we approach the runway. Now you could see the buildings were closer, you could see the roads were closer, and slowly the tires came out. I mean the landing gear, not tires, easy Gary. And here we are now at the runway. Slow by slow, we approach and we hit the runway. There was some child, I remember, that was crying. I don't know if maybe it was also the child's first time just like me. Here we were in Mombasa. What an experience that was. A dream that was fulfilled. Touching down this place that I was over 20 years ago, back in 2002, 2003, now 2022. But now, not just stepping in the plane and leaving, but actually boarding and flying in a plane. Even though it was locally, or it was a local flight, I was just excited. It was like a dream come true. I felt fulfilled. It was like a mission accomplished. And happy was I beyond just the normal, beyond the ordinary. So, what's your experience? How was your first flight? Please let me know in the comments section. You can call me KM. Thank you for watching.